Hey, you guys, Stockton here from Better Than Data. And in this video, I want to go over a kind of strategy topic for something that builds off of a video that JJ did last week. So if you haven't checked that out, go ahead and do that. But today, I want to go over the actual Foresight method strategy for our join page on Better Than Data. So if you want to head over to Better Than Data and check out the join page, of course, you can join the actual program there. If not, we also do have a quiz there. So if you are on your measurement journey and you want to know kind of what the next step is for you, where should you go next to learn down your path of measurement, we have this nifty, handy dandy little quiz here that can spit out a good result for you. And we send you some really valuable emails after helping you take that next step in the measurement journey. So for now, what I want to do is take a look at the actual page to look at the what it looks like so we know what we're going to be measuring. So first of all, this is what the page looks like. This is on /join. And if we kind of look at what the strategy is that we're going to be tracking, then we are going to be setting up the Foresight system, which is basically tracking these different behaviors. So remember, we're tracking user behaviors. We're trying to identify certain things that they do on the website to track kind of their progress and if they are meeting the expected goal of the page, right? So the end goal of the page is this initiate, right? We want them to take the next step to go to the cart page. But in order to get there, there are other various steps. And instead of just having like blanket scroll tracking, because we have that on there as well, we want to identify certain behaviors that they're doing on the page to be able to know how well they're progressing through this journey. So this is the Foresight journey measurement, and this one is specifically for an offer. So because we have an offer, we actually would have a separate kind of journey setup if it was for a lead. So we have Foresight journey for leads as well, which basically what changes is the event name. So we have impression, aware, engage, investigate, and initiate. So we need to identify those different behaviors. What does impression mean for someone viewing this page, right? What does it mean for them to be aware of the offer on this page or engage with the offer on this page? And what does it mean for them to investigate and then finally initiate the offer on this page? So those are the bits that we are going to be looking at and covering in this example. Also, when this is all set up, then we can have a report that looks something like this. So this is kind of the end result of setting up this type of tracking, where here you can actually see a difference between what the Foresight journey funnel would break down to with the same at the same time what the scroll report funnel breaks down to. So a quite a big difference in terms of what these two different graphs are telling us to help us take action. And obviously we can use both of them at the same time to discover that, but the Foresight journey will give you a better breakdown into the exact behaviors that's happening more than just scroll. And if you see here, this is what we've already set up. So kind of the breakdown of what each one of the steps would be. So impression for this example would just be that the page loaded, right? So the trigger would be for page loaded, but more specifically, not just page loaded, but window loaded. So inside of Google Tag Manager, there's a new trigger that is called window loaded. So what would we actually name this for the GA4 tag? To actually name this inside of GA4, we would set up we would pass the event name of something offer. So in this case, it would be impression for offer. And I think now you can see where we're going to be going with these event names and how it would differ if it was a lead. So if it was a lead, it would be impression lead. Next would be aware. So what does it mean when someone is aware of the offer on this page? So for us, that means that they've kind of spent some time on the page and maybe they haven't dove too deep into it, but for this, aware would mean 10 seconds on the page. So we'll go ahead and mark that down as 10 seconds on the page. And so the trigger for this would be a timer trigger inside of Google Tag Manager. We're not going to get into like the whole GTM setup on this, just kind of the strategy piece. So that would be a 10-second timer on the page. And for the offer, or sorry, the event name, here we would use aware offer. And actually, I capitalize that, should not be capitalized. Okay, so what does it mean for someone to be engaged on this page? Well, engaged would kind of mean that they've spent more time, right? They're actually reading through some of the content. They're engaging with the page in terms of getting to know what the offer is more. They haven't just glanced at it. They haven't just spent a few seconds on the page. They're actually scrolling down the page and spending some time on the page. So this is where we would actually use a trigger group. We would define each one of these triggers separately and then put them in a trigger group is how we would do this one. But it is a 20 seconds and 50% scroll. So that's why you would need a trigger group, because you're combining two. So 20 seconds plus 50% scroll. So you would first define each one of these triggers separately, put them in a trigger group, and that is what the new trigger would be for the engage. And then here we would have engage offer. Investigate, this is where someone would actually be checking out like the pricing table, right? Or for us, it's this box right here. So when someone is going through this, right, they're aware of the offer, they've engaged with the page, and now they're investigating. So now they're able to come and see and actually look at what are all of the itty bitty details in this offer. And so they're investigating it. For us, what this means is that they're viewing the offer stack for a certain amount of time. So they're viewing this container on the page, right? This div on the page for more than 7 seconds. So they're actually kind of, spending some time to investigate it. And so that would be for here another trigger group, because we're combining two triggers. So first it would be element visibility, because you want to identify that specific part on the page using CSS selectors and things like that in the element visibility trigger. And then you would create a separate trigger. Actually, you wouldn't need to do a time trigger here, because the element visibility trigger inside of Google Tag Manager has a time on page second. So plus 7,000 milliseconds is what it would look like inside of Google Tag Manager. You would say that they have to view this part on the page for 7,000 milliseconds in order for the investigate trigger to go off. And then here, the GA4 name would be, you guessed it, capitalized it again, investigate offer. Okay, and then finally, the initiate is them taking the actual next step. So we have here, these different buttons. So the initiate would be them actually clicking onto the next step. So clicking one of these buttons or this spicy button down here to go to the next step. And that would be them initiating with the offer, right? Taking the next step. So here we go. We would say this could be a click or form, whatever. In our case, it's a click. So we do click to next step. And for that, we would just need to identify there's lots of ways you could do it. We could give these buttons here a certain class or certain ID, or we could identify them based on their URL that they're going to, or lots of different methods to do that. But it comes down to click to next step. And then here would be initiate offer. Okay, so with that, we've kind of defined what the journey is on this page. And now, because we put this inside of our Looker Studio, we can begin to optimize this page, figure out where the breakdown is. Okay, a lot of people are engaging, but not a lot of people are investigating. Or a lot of people are investigating, but not many people are initiating. Maybe we would expect this percentage here to be up closer to 15% instead of 5%. So what can we do between the offer stack and the initiate to bump that up a bit? It is quite a different story than just scrolling. So a lot more people are scrolling 90% of the page than are actually investigating or actually initiating. So it doesn't tell us quite the full story, but with this type of behavior tracking, we do now have a nice breakdown based on all of those different trigger groups and identifying certain behaviors. So hope you enjoyed this. If you are interested in how to set this up for your different offers and your different leads, then do check out Better Than Data, and we'll be happy to welcome and introduce you to this and walk you through all of the different steps.